Hi, everyone. How are you? It's Sue from Scrapbook Garage. Welcome to the Scrapbook Garage YouTube channel for another Tuesday at 2. I'm so excited to craft with you today. If you're finding us for the first time, welcome. And if you are coming back and joining us again or watching us on the replay, welcome back. We're glad to see you. My name is Sue. I own a store in Parksville, British Columbia called Scrapbook Garage, and we've been going live at 2 on Tuesdays for about 5 or 6 weeks now, where I share a new project every week, and there is a free downloadable project sheet that you can get from our website as well. That goes with each video. So be sure to check those out. You can get those. There's a link in the description of this video. You can also get them on our website, which is scrapbookgarage.ca. Today we have a fun one for you. So we're going to be creating some fun holiday box cards. I mean, we're into the season of creating for the holidays. So I've created a fun project, one that you can make 2 different ways. And the project sheet will give you instructions on both of those. Know that the project sheet for today's live won't be available until after this live posts. And I will need a little bit of time to just update the project sheet with any adjustments or measurement adjustments or anything like that. If there are any, there may not be, but it usually goes live shortly after it becomes available. Sorry, using the word live for YouTube Live and a live document is also a little confusing. So the project sheet will be available shortly after this YouTube Live is complete. So be sure to visit the website. You can also see the previous projects that we've shared on our YouTube channel, and you can also see those on our website as well and grab the project sheets for those projects as well. And if you do create something using one of those project sheets or following along to one of the videos, please email us and share what you're creating. We'd love to see what you're creating, and we would love to be able to craft with you as well. We do have a Facebook page called the Scrapbook Garage Creative Community, which you're welcome to join us over there. The link's in the description of this video as well. Or you can text us as well or email us photos of what you're working on. We always love to see what everyone's creating. So if you're joining us live today, pop into the chat, let us know where you're joining from, and let us know if the weather has turned for you. Here on the West Coast, it's quite cold. Last week, our live was, I was a little nervous last week. We had a little bit of wind come through. And unfortunately for Halloween and here on the island, in our area of the island, it was raining quite hard on Halloween. So we didn't get to see as many little trick-or-treaters as we would have liked to. But hopefully you had a great week and you had a nice Halloween, and we are back to crafting this week. So I think I covered it all. Oh, the other thing that I will share is that we invite you to share your ideas with us. We want our channel, we're just new to developing this channel. We'd love to be creating content for what you would like to see, or what you're curious about, or what you'd like to learn about. So if you have an opportunity to share some ideas with us, we do have something called the Scrapbook Garage Community Idea Vault, and there's a link to that in the description of this video. If you share your ideas with us there, we do put your name in a draw for a Scrapbook Garage gift card that we'll draw for each month. With it being our first 5 weeks or so getting going, so we're trying to get a few more people to keep contributing ideas. That's great. Those of you that have already, thank you so much. We'll probably do our first gift card giveaway at the beginning of December. So please share your ideas, get your ideas in using that Google form. The link's in the description, and get yourself entered into the draw for a gift card. You can use it in person at the store, or you can shop online too. And just a quick reminder that we haven't done any advertising or anything yet, but it would be really fun to use a gift card that you win for free in our Great Big Bundle sale that might be coming up at the beginning of December. So keep that in mind. So share your ideas, help us create content on the channel that you'd really love to see, and let's do some crafting together. Okay, I'm going to jump right in. I'll switch to my overhead camera and I'll show you what we're going to do today with the holiday 4x4 box cards. So give me one sec. I'll switch to the overhead. There we go. So This is what we're going to be creating today. We've made these two little boxes, and again, the lighting, we're working on the whites. There we go. I'm kind of getting the hang of how to let everyone see what we're working on here. But we're, for those of you that are joining us for the first time or are not sure, we had a house flood in July, and we're still kind of resettling from that. So one of the places that I'm creating with you today is in my studio, and the lighting isn't the best here. So we are working on trying to fix it, but I'm just learning to kind of move with what works for the lighting. So I apologize, but hopefully it will be better soon. We're almost there with our house flood. So almost back to normal now. So I'll open this up. So how these work is there's two different styles. So you'll notice this one here has a full flap, and this one here is a gatefold, and I'll show you how this one opens as well. So these are just like a little box. I designed them to fit the 4x4 sentiments that you see on these 12 by 12 papers, right? The sentiment sheets. So this one here is by Echo Park. Super cute. I love the blue and the little snowman. I'll have to work with something with that and create something with that soon, but we're not using that one today. But this project is created around the sentiments like these that are measure 4x4. We always seem to have a few of those left over from our projects, so I wanted to create a little project that would work to use them up. So this one here is just, I'm calling it just a front flap. So it says, "Have yourself a merry little Christmas." It opens up, and then it has this other little flap. You can see it's dimensional, so you could add some chocolates in there. It's big enough to hold some tea light candles or something like that. And you could put a small gift in here as well, and then you can fold that back up. This will just tie back together, which I'm not going to spend the time to do because I'm not real great at tying bows, but those will tie back together, and then you can see that it's finished on all the sides here. So that's that one. That's the front, and you'll notice the difference. There's the full flap. So on this one here, we have a tied on the side. So I'll just go ahead and open that up. This one says Merry Christmas. We've used a little bit of glossy accents on the front here and just a little sentiment. This one opens up like a gatefold. So you'll notice the difference here. The other one opened like this, and these side pieces here were glued to the box. And then this one, we have a little bit more open, so a little more fun. Merry Christmas to all. You could fill this with some chocolates or some candy, and it would be super fun to have. Even just standing on your desk somewhere, or like as a kind of part of your holiday decor, that would work too. And as a host or a hostess, it would be wonderful to receive something like this. So I'm going to walk you through. Remember, there is a project sheet that will include all the measurements and everything that you will need to craft this. And if you do, again, I would love to see what you create. So I'm going to set these aside, and I'll pull out some tools, and we'll get started creating. So let me set that aside. I'm just going to check here. Oh, hi, Debbie. Yeah, nice to see you too. Hi, Shell Scraps. Hello from Southern California. Oh, nice and warm there. I will live vicariously through you right now. It's pretty cold up here. Actually, today we have a little bit of sunshine, so we're very lucky. But, I think we're hovering at about 9 or 10 degrees at the moment, so that's pretty good for this area this time of year. So, and it was a beautiful sunny day today, so that was very nice too. So I'm just going to bring in my trim and scoreboard here. This is a We Are Memory Keepers one, and it just locks. I just have a couple locks on the back here. I'm just going to lock that open because we are going to need our scoreboard. I'll do my best to keep this in frame for everyone to see. We're going to start this. Each of these are made with just 2 pieces of black cardstock. You can use whichever color you like. It's just 65-pound cardstock. So you'll need one piece that measures 4 3/4 by 10.5. And yeah, 10 degrees burr. Yeah, I guess California is pretty warm right now, right? So one piece that measures 4 3/4 by 10.5, and the other measures 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then we're going to just score these to get ready for our project. So this little trimmer here is a scoreboard in one. So I'm just going to flip that over because I've already cut them to the right size. But I'm just going to line this up in my trimmer or my scoreboard. And I'm going to score it at 2 3/8 and 3 3/8 And then I'm going to skip all the way down and I'm going to go 7 5/8 and 8 5/8. So that helps create the base piece. And again, the measurements will be on the project sheet. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then I'm going to pull in my little 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 piece. And I just want to score this one at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So I'm just going to go 1 inch, turn it, butt it back up to the top and on the side so that it's all flush there. And I'm just going to score it at 1 inch. Do the same on the 3rd side and again on the 4th side. So when you're finished, you'll have a box that has a 1 inch score all the way around. And then you have another base piece here that has the score lines on it for us. And we can set our scoreboard aside and just keep those on our desk. Let me just close this up here because it will get in our way a little later. So I'm just going to set that behind me. Sorry, again, I'm working in a pretty small space. So, oh, you're in the 70s there. Oh, well, that would be very, very nice. Not too hot and not too cold. That would be beautiful. So what I'm going to do, this is the piece that's going to create the box for the inside of the card. So I'll pull the sample back in. So this box here is the 1 inch pieces all the way around. So I'm going to show you how to create that piece. And what we're going to do is just on, I don't know if you can see the score lines. I think you can kind of see them here. So on the corners, I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut from this edge just up to that one little score line here. So I'm just going to line up my scissors and I'm going to cut them just to where that score line intersects so that that is there. And then I'm just going to kind of miter these corners. So I'm just going to take a little piece off of that side and a little piece off of that side. So, and what I'll do, maybe I will pull in a piece of, it's pretty hard to see with this lighting. So let me just grab a piece of white paper and that will help you be able to see underneath. There, that's better. So you can kind of see how I've mitered the corners edges there. So I'm going to take those pieces off and I'm just going to do the same thing on that one. So I'm just going to go right from here up to the corner. And this time I'm going to miter it from that edge to the first score line. And then I'm just going to trim that little edge off there, just matching up to the score lines there. So that one side, we have 2 little tabs and they're both kind of trimmed on the edges. We're just going to turn it around all the way and do the same thing on these others on the other side. So again, just go straight up the score line to where they meet. Trim that off at a bit of an angle. So just basically taking little triangles off of your paper. I think I need to clean my scissors. They have a little bit of adhesive stuck to them. So every time I trim, it's staying stuck to the scissors. But that's okay. It's crafting, right? That's how it goes. There we go. So I'm, again, just doing the same to that tab. And then again, the same to that tab. And then once I have that cut, that's what it should look like for you. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of fold and burnish all of the edges. So I just pull my bone folder back in here. Bear with me 1 second. I put it back in my trimmer to store it. I'm just going to set that aside. There we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and when I fold these over, I want to be mindful that when I'm folding them, I kind of want them to be lining up with the score lines that are already there. And that's how I can tell that they're going to be straight and make some crisp edges. So I'm just going to kind of fold that up. I'm going to do the same with these little pieces here, the little flaps at the end, and then the same here. And I'm just going to kind of make sure that we get a nice crisp edge there. And then I'm just going to unfold them. And I'll turn it and I'll keep doing the same thing. Just going to try to make sure those are all lined up. And then that one we already did. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and do that one again. Little flaps. And then this one. There we go. Yeah, in the 70s, that would be so nice right about now. We've had so much rain the last little while where we are. That it was nice to see the sun today. It was beautiful. All the leaves are changing color. We have just a few left on the trees here after a windstorm came through last week. So, but it's nice to see the sun on the beautiful colors of the trees. Very nice. Okay, so I've folded and burnished all of the edges. So now what we're going to do to create the box is I'm just going to pull these top two flaps. I'm going to pull them towards myself and then tip this box up. So they'll go up and in, and they're going to adhere right to this flap here. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on this little flap, and it's going to get stuck to the back like that. We'll make sure that that angle is 90 degrees. And then we're going to do the same on this side and adhere to that one. Okay, so to do that, what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring in my art glitter glue here. And I like to just fold it down and just add a little bit of glue, kind of get it to the edges. We don't really want it to overflow too much. And of course, my glue is going to add a little bit of challenge here. Give me 1 second. There we go. I saw it just pop open there. Yep, so I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive or glue down. And then when I put this together, I'm going to pick it up and I'm kind of watching how this corner comes together. So I want to make sure that that is at a 90 degree if I can. And then I'm just going to hold that there for a minute just so it has a minute to bond. And then I'll go on to the next one and I'll do the same thing. Just going to add a little bit here. And then I'll just close that up. Again, I want this to be as close to 90 degrees as I can, so straight up. And if you like, you can set it down just to see if that gives you a little bit, makes it a little easier for you to hold that together. And then once we've done those two, we're going to continue and do the same thing for the next one. So again, they fold in like this, and then that's going to get glued like that. So this one here, I can stand that up, add a little bit of adhesive to the back flap. And again, I'm going to line up this edge with this corner. So this edge with that corner, line that up. And then go ahead and do the same on this other corner here. That's great. One more. And go ahead and hold that in place for a minute here. Oops. Let me try that one more time. There we go. That's better. So I'll just hold that for a minute and that will adhere. And then that will give us the base of the box that is going to come together with this base. So there we go. So we can set that aside because that completes our box now. And I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to bring in this other piece. Again, this base piece measures 4 3/4 by 10.5. And then we scored it again. Let me just see if I have the measurements written down at 2 1/8 and 3 1/8. And then 7 3/8 and 8 3/8. And this time we're just going to do the same thing. We want to fold and burnish all of the score lines. So when I'm folding this, I'm not like pushing it down all the way right away. I'm just kind of running my finger along to get it ready to burnish. And then I'm watching this corner of the flap here, this corner, and I'm lining it up with the base piece that's underneath. So, and that will help me keep this line straight when I go to score this. So let me just move that up a little. There you go. So I'm holding these down, making sure they're flush with those two edges. See how that's hanging off? I know I need to straighten that out a little bit. I can hold that there, and that's now straight. And now I can go ahead with my bone folder and give that a good burnish. Same thing again with this next one. Now I'm going to line up this whole edge, make sure it's not hanging off. Same on the other side. And when I'm happy, I start in the middle and work my way to the outside. And then once you're happy with that, we're going to turn it around to the other side and we're going to do the same thing again. So just kind of get that ready to hold the fold. Go ahead and add or hold that in place. Going to start in the middle with my bone folder, work my way out. And then go ahead again with the last fold here. See how that, when I just go to fold it, see how it becomes crooked? So this is now the time that we're going to correct that. So we just want to hold it to there. Make sure it's lined up on the other side as well. And then once we're happy with that, we're just going to go ahead with the bone folder and crease that down, burnish that down. So you can kind of see how this is going to come together, right? So this is our card base that is going to go out on the outside flaps of the box. So the box now is going to fit into the middle, and this will wrap around and come closed like that. Okay, so when we excuse me, when we add the box to the base, you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it or not, but let me see if I can figure out how to hold this. So what I did is I made the base just a like 1/8 inch bigger at the top and at the bottom, so that you can move this box up and down to see how it's got a little bit of a reveal on the end. It's flush, so we're just going to make sure that it's centered top to bottom when we stick this to the base. And you want to make sure that these edges are lined up right with the score lines there. So let me see, there's a score line here. I'm so sorry, working in a bit of a shadow. Let me see if this lighting will help. There, that's a bit better. That's a bit better. So yeah, so see how at the top here, there's a little bit of a reveal underneath, and same at the bottom. And you can move this center it up and down on the piece. So once you're ready and you've done a dry fit, you know that it's going to kind of work well to hold those together. Then we can go ahead and glue that down. So I'm just going to add some, you could use tape here too, but I'm just going to add, I know this is going to be covered up on the inside, so I'm just going to go ahead and add some of the art glitter glue. And then I'm going to be mindful of this edge. I want it to be close to the edge, but not overlapping this score line. And I'm going to center it between the top and the bottom here. So to do that, I'm going to turn it so I can see, so I don't put my head in the camera. Because I've been known to do that a few times. So there we go. So I'm just going to line that up. Hopefully I'll get that as close to straight as possible. I'm going to check the other side real quick. And the way to check is to just fold these over. If they close easily, you know you're in a good position. Then I'm just going to take not the sharp end of my bone folder, but the dull end. And I'm just going to kind of run that around the inside of the box just to move that glue and stick those two pieces together. And that is what completes the base of this card for either the full flap front or the gatefold front. So I'll bring them both in again in a minute and show you how we go from this kind of a base, an empty base, to the completed card. So there's the gatefold. You can see that one intrinsically on its own, right? And that is this one here when it's complete. So, and again, sorry if, there we go. So that will be that one. And here you could either choose to glue these flaps in if you like the look of it just being like a little book like that. If you like it to open more, you can open it out as well. And then the other one, this is the full front, right? Where I've just created it into being a bigger piece. And all I did is added a piece of mirror card to the front that was a full width of the whole project, right? So I took the flap that was like this and added a piece of cardstock to the front. So underneath this pattern piece is the other flap like this, right? And then I just covered it. You can kind of see at the top here, see how that flap, let's see if I can find a place where you can see. It's kind of hard to see, but you can actually see the end of the flap piece underneath here, just in the border. And then I just put a piece of pattern paper on top. So, and then the other difference is you'll notice that this one is glued right along the edges here. So, whereas this folds out, for this box here, I just added adhesive in here and glued that like that. So you have lots of options with this project. For today, for illustration, we're just going to go ahead and make a full front. We'll make a full front like this one. And then I'll give you the project sheet will include how to make the one with the gatefold. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and cut some of the pieces here. So I always like to do a little bit of a dry fit to see where we're going to go with the project. So this one here, you can see how this will be a full front piece, right? So in that one, I've just left a little bit of a border all the way around. And then we have an embellishment piece to go on the top. And then we do have some ribbon that we're going to use to tie this one closed. But what we're going to do is we're going to lift this one open. And on the other side, it will have this piece here, which will now become that full flap. So hopefully that makes sense. We'll kind of go as we go. as they say. And then I have some other pieces and things here that we will put on as well. But to get started, what we're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to line this up to the base, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and trim that down. If I need to trim it at all, now's the time to do it. So, and I think that's pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead. When I put the adhesive on, because this is an opening here, I don't want to put glue on the whole thing. I just want to put it on where it's going to attach to the left-hand flap. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some glue here, just on that side, so that it will adhere to that flap. I'm going to close the box with my hands, right? So I'm just going to close that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this piece to the top, leaving a reveal all the way around as best I can without putting my head in the camera, because that's the thing. There we go. So, and then once I have that in place, I can go ahead and like just flip it over and kind of burnish that down to stick that on. This paper is super fun. I was debated using the one with the cardinals on it. It's very cute too. But in the end, I chose the poinsettias. It was just turned out so cute that way. So then this piece here, is this better now if I take this away? Yeah, let's take that away. I'll keep it to the side here in case we need to show you again. I'm really struggling with the light, so I apologize for that, but you'll get the gist, and there is a project sheet to help you as well. So then I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece to the back. But before I do that, I want to do a dry fit, because when we open this up, see how this is hanging over? It means that I need to trim that piece down just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and take my guillotine, guillotine trimmer. And I know it only needs a little bit at a time, so I'm just going to kind of take a little hair off of two sides, and then I'll try the fit again and see how that goes. So I'll bring that back in, fit that on top. That's fitting a little better, I think. I can have a look here. Yeah, that will be better. Yeah. So I'm looking on the sides here and I'm not seeing any more reveal. So that means that this is pretty good to go. So I will go ahead and add adhesive to the back of this piece. And this time I can go all the way over the whole thing. And oh, the one thing that I need to do before I do that, I'm going to leave that there real quickly. I'm going to add a piece of ribbon here. So that will help me be able to have the closure in the right spot. So I'm going to add a piece of ribbon, and we'll put the other one on the other side. And then I'm going to quickly add that on top before my glue dries. Sorry guys, missed a step almost. It's been a weekend. It's been a week for me. Today's my Monday, so we had a really large order land at the store this week, and it has been a little bit of a marathon. We had 2 full classes at the store on Saturday, which is amazing. It was so fun to craft with everyone. But with all of that new stuff arriving on top of teaching and on top of the things, it's been a little busy, the store this week. So there, that will give you the piece that we need to be able to tie this closed later. So we've got those 2 pieces in place. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull in, and I'll give you the measurements in the project guide. So for all of the flaps and everything. So we have 2 pieces of pattern paper for this side. And again, we're going to add the ribbon first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this to see where the ribbon is going to go. And I'm going to go ahead and add that right about the same spot so that it will be able to stay in place and match up to the other one approximately. So I've just taken some gingham ribbon here and just glue that down, which is great. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take the pattern paper here and I'm going to add that to the front flap. Try to get it as straight as I can. It's always a little bit cumbersome in a small, I'm working in about 15 square inches here. So until we get the studio back to what it was at before the flood, we're kind of at the mercy of the small space, as they say. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that piece as best I can, straight as I can. And then you'll see how this is coming together now. So we'll be able to tie that closed on the side when we're all done. I'm going to go ahead and open these up. And then I have some of these little pieces. I'll just figure out where they go. So we have 2 longer pieces and 2 shorter pieces. So these 2 longer ones, I believe, go here. Yes. Here and here. And I think for this one, let me just revisit this. Yeah, I think for this one, these go on the outside of the box. I cut these yesterday thinking, maybe which way are we going to do this today? Are we going to do a full flap or are we going to do the gatefold? But the gatefold's pretty self-explanatory. Once you get the project to this point, you can kind of see how the gatefold would come together. You still would have to make the accommodation for how you're going to close the box, but there'll be some ideas on the project sheet for you. So these ones here are just going to go on the end here, and I'm just going to leave a border all the way around. So I'm just going to leave that standing up, and I'll add a little bit of glue here. Yeah, Debbie, it's a great gift idea. Yeah, full of candy or a gift card. Yeah, I was thinking you could put a little pocket or something inside, right? If you wanted to give a gift card as well, and then just by adding a strip of paper and leaving the top open, right? Like if you wanted to put, once we get the pattern paper in here, of course, you could just put a strip along here, but you would only glue it in 3 sides so that it would hold a little gift card. You could do that too. Yeah, a fun little project, right? And it comes together quite quickly once you have the pieces cut. It does come together quite quickly. So I just measured this because these pieces are going to go on the top here. So you have 2 longer ones and 2 shorter ones. The 2 shorter ones go on the box and the 2 longer ones go on the spines like this. So what I'm going to do is be mindful when I put this on of which end is up. So this is kind of the way that I think that the top will be. So I'm going to put the lighter of the pattern at the top so that the more dense pattern at the bottom, it will kind of anchor it a little bit. It'll just look nicer. If I were to put this on this way and had it standing up, it would look pretty too, but this kind of gets lost, right? All of the little embellishments and things that are, or the holly at the bottom. So I'm just going to flip that over, but you can put it whichever way you like. I just tend to put things that aren't quite as heavily colored at the top and all the heavier, more things that are more colored at the bottom. And I just find that it kind of helps the eye land where we want it to land. So here again, I'm just going to stick that on with a little bit of a border all the way around. And then for the inside, we have these 2 little, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this one because you could leave it like this and then just cut pattern papers, which would be the same as these ones, right? You could cut 2 more and put them there, but this way is a little less intuitive. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to glue these down so that this will open more like a flap. So to do that, instead of putting the adhesive on this long side, because I could overshoot and go past the box, and then there'll be like extra glue at the top and bottom. So instead of doing it on this bottom piece, I'm going to put the glue on the box piece instead. And that should help keep the glue kind of in check. So I'm just going to glue on the box. And then I'm just going to flip this up, push this up towards the top, and just kind of pinch that together where the fold is. And I'm just going to hold that there for a moment while it glues to the box, which I think is good there. And any excess you can just kind of wipe with your finger where our glitter glue doesn't, it dries clear. So it gives us a little bit of grace, which is wonderful. I'm not always the cleanest crafter, as they say. I have a bag that says creativity is messy and I'm very creative. So, and it's very fitting for me in my studio. Yeah. So it's what they say, when you're crafting and all of a sudden you look around your craft room, looks like, a whirlwind went through. It's, yeah, it means that you've been very creative. That's great. So yeah, and I'm just going to glue those. Now those are kind of adhered, right? I would hold those a little bit more as well, just to let it get a good grip there. And then this other piece here will go just on this flap right here. So I can go ahead and glue that down. You could use the other side too if you like the star side of the paper, whichever side you like. And again, all the measurements will be in the project guide. So I encourage you to download that. Let me just turn this. I can't really see what I'm doing here because my camera is there and I'm usually crafting above my head. So, or like, not above my head, but with my head over the project. There we go. And here I can't do that. I have to sit back a little more so you can all see. Okay, so then you can see how that's going to come together, right? And we're just going to, that will tie closed. For the inside here, I have two little pieces. Here, I just have one that says cheers. I was thinking, you know, not that I advocate for, you know, alcohol consumption or anything, but this would fit the little 1 ounce or 2 ounce alcohol bottles as well. So I thought maybe that would be fun to have a little bit of a hot chocolate pack and a Bailey's. That would be pretty fun too. Not that I, like I say, not that I drink. I don't drink at all, but I know at the holidays it's always nice to have, you know, a few different options for things. And for those that do enjoy a little indulgence now and then, it's okay. So inside here, I've made it a little bit smaller so you can see that I'm moving this around. What I'm doing is I'm watching the inside border here and the top. If I get the inside and the top about right, then the other two sides should take care of themselves. So I'm just going to kind of put that in so that it's got a nice border all the way around. And then this front piece, I can also, or this, the sentiment piece, I'm just going to go ahead and add that as well and make sure there's a little red border all the way around. And you could trim this down too if you wanted to show a little bit more of the red. You definitely could do that. This would be really cute with some like really funky socks. They would be really fun, little sock box. That would be fun too. I love getting socks at the holidays, right? My feet are always cold, so it's always fun to have a new pair of socks to wear when it's cold outside and snowing and raining and all the things that it does in British Columbia. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. But it is big enough to hold a little pair of socks too, so it's kind of fun. So, and there you go. So see here, I can see that this is starting to come apart here. So I'm just going to kind of use the fine tip of my glue. I'm just going to poke that in, add a little bit more adhesive, and just give that another pinch. And if the glue happens to come up, like it will, right? See how that glue is coming up there? I'm just going to go ahead and wipe that off with my finger. And again, I don't have to worry too much because if there's a little bit of over gluing, then it will dry clear. But while we have it open, we might as well take care of that. And then I do have a couple more. I had two of these. There's the other one. So these two little pieces here, they're going to go right on the end of the box right here. So I can glue that one in place. Just give a little bit of glue all the way down. Glue this one in place here. There we go. And again, just making sure that the border stays about the same all the way around. That's pretty good. And then just flip this over and add the other one on the other side. How's everybody doing? Does everybody make holiday cards or a New Year's cards or things like that? And if you do make them, have you started yet or are you finished? I know we have a couple friends that have been into the store saying that they're already finished. I'm like, oh my goodness. I have not even, well, this is my beginning. these little YouTube lives, all the little projects we've made, this is my beginning of my holiday creating. So, so there we go. So see, you can see on the top that that's got some really nice poinsettia paper there now. We can just close this up. And in the interest of keeping this square, when I add the topper, I'm going to go ahead and tie this closed. So, and this little, gingham ribbon is super cute too. Kind of goes well with the black and red and white theme. So, and you can make your bow as big or small as you like. And then I have a trick for doing the ends. I always like to do a little bit of a decorative finish on the ends. And you can do these one at a time or both at the same time. I tend to always kind of do them at the same time. Just gonna take the paper off my scissors here. There's a little bit of glue on my scissors there, so I'm just going to take those off. So what I'm going to do here, I want to fishtail the ends and make them look kind of pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut directly up with my great Tim Holtz scissors, and then I'm just going to kind of go from the ends to the middle of both of those, and it will create those fishtail. So see how that makes a little kind of decorative end to the ribbon? So super fun way to do that. So, and then we just have the last two pieces to add here. So I have two pieces of extra paper. So I have a matte piece, and I have this piece as well, which is going to be the center focal point. And I'm going to just add that right onto the top there. You could add this with dimensional adhesive, or you could like pop it up if you chose to. For today, I'm just going to add it straight down. And the reason for that is we will add a sentiment to the front of this that will be popped up. If I can find it. I had it set aside, and now I'm looking and trying to find it at the same time. So just going to go ahead and add that. And then this piece here, when I'm designing, I always use repositional adhesive to put it in place. So that's what was there. But now I'm going to go ahead and add this to the front. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, Shell Scraps. That's great. I hope you make some as well, and share what you make. You could use this for birthdays. It doesn't have to be holiday themed. You could use it for a birthday. You could use it for an anniversary, or just a thinking of you gift. It could be anything that you would like to put inside. And then let's see. I'm trying to think of if we can find a fun way to add a sentiment. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside now. This is the other part of the paper where this piece was on the bottom. There was another one here and another one here, and then there was 3 more at the top. So, but we always seem to end up with all of these squares left over, or these other little pieces left over that maybe we haven't used in some of our projects. So I thought it would be fun to try to incorporate those into a project to use. So I'm just kind of having a look here, and I think for this one, the one that will be fitted the most would be this Holly Jolly. So I'm going to create a sentiment on the fly here. For this one, I had this extra little piece here. Let me see if I can get that to there. You can kind of see that. Here, this was created with Spellbinder's Better Press, and it was a few pieces left over. So I never throw them away. I put them in a little binder that I can come back to later. So I found that in that stash there. So, but for this one, I thought it would be fun to kind of create something because I forgot to take one out of the binder for this one. So we're going to go ahead and make one. And this will be a fun way to use up some of this paper too. So I'm just going to cut apart this Holly Jolly. And that's fun. I'm going to set those aside. And then let's see if what my trimming skills will be like here. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can get this sentiment onto a black background and then add it here that says Holly Jolly across. Let's see if that will work. And if not, you know, it's crafting. We can make something else on the fly and do it that way. Okay, so here's where I'm not 100% sure if this will be straight or not, but we'll see. There we go. How do I do? Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Now we'll get the jolly part. Let's see how wide that one is. That one's just over. So we're going to go just over. See if we can match this one. There we go. Holly Jolly's not so bad. Maybe we could do 2 different sentiments. Oh, you know what? How about we banner cut them? Let's try that. So again, I'm just going to add a little decorative piece to the end. So when I do this, I want this to kind of be a little angle. So I'm going to put my scissors here, and as far up as I put the blade on the piece of paper is how deep that triangle will be. So if I want it to be really sharp, I'll put my scissors up really far. If I want it to be really shallow, I just pull them back a little bit. So I'm just going to pull that back to there. And then all I have to do is match this corner with where that trim ends. Right? There we go. And then do the same going the other way. This corner to where the trim ends. It gives us a cute little banner cut. See that? Okay, and then do the same on the other end. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and trim that in. And trim this one in. So there's that one, and then we'll do the same with this one. Trim that into there. Snip. and snip this piece off. Take all these little stuck pieces. I need to clean my scissors. They're getting a little crazy. There we go. And then the same thing, snip this end. Good, Debbie. I'm glad you like the box. That's great. I hope you guys make some and share what you've made, of course, because I always love to see what everybody's creating and what they'd like to do with the instructions and the project sheets as well. So there we go. This is going to be our sentiment, but if I put it on here, it kind of disappears, right? So because it's all one color. So I'm going to go ahead and matte this on black. And how I'm going to do that, this is how I do it on the fly, so I don't have to measure. I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down, and I'm going to try to get this as close as I can to be the right width that I would like. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to get that straight. I have a bit of a handshake, so it's not always successful, but you know, we do what we do, right? Yeah, that's great. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more, and I got pretty close to the edge, so I'm just going to wipe that off. This glue, it just is incredible. You can just rub it on your finger and it disappears. So again, I'm just going to put that right along here so that the border is about the same. And then this time, I'm just going to snip this. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my trimmer here to cut these apart. And let's see how close we get to it. There we go. So this one here, not so bad. Might have to trim it up just a little bit, get it a little straighter. And then I can just follow that red line there to trim these edges up. And do the same on this side. Trim. And trim that one up. And if there's any need to straighten it up, we can do that. And then again, I'm just going to trim this off. We'll go ahead and add, might be helpful if I put that arm down. There we go. We can add that. Just do a little trim here and here. Shows you a quick little way. See how this side is much thicker? I'm going to trim this side off. How I'm going to do that, I put it into my trimmer. I'll put it down here so you can kind of see. I'm looking at the distance between the red here and this silver plate, and that is how I'm going to get it as straight as possible. I am going to watch my fingers because the guard has been removed from this trimmer. So, and we do that intentionally when we're kidding our classes. But see how that gives us almost a perfect reveal or border all the way around. So these little guillotine trimmers work fantastic for doing stuff like that, where you just need a little bit taken off. And the bigger trimmers, I always find that they're a little harder to get small pieces cut off. It either shreds or bunches up or something always happens for me anyway. So I tend to go back to this little guillotine trimmer quite often. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead now. See how that just makes these pop a little more? We can do something fun, like put them on an angle. That's kind of cute too, right? And this time I'm going to add them with my dimensional adhesive. So I have a little bit of foam tape here, which is why my stickers, or my stickers, why my scissors are sticky. I'm just going to go ahead and add some of these to the back here. Just add 1 or 2 pieces to each one. You could do the whole width if you wanted to too, but it's pretty small, so it doesn't really need a ton of adhesive. So just go ahead and add an extra corner. And you could also use the little squares or circles, whichever shape you have. And then I'm just going to lay these out again to see, oh, that's why. There we go. To see how I'm going to put those on. That's great. I think that looks okay. And I'll go ahead and remove the backing. This I always struggle with, so bear with me. I always have trouble getting the back off. If you guys have tips for how to remove the backing from foam tape, maybe I'll use my scissors. That might work better. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, if you have tips, please share, because I always struggle with this part. And then I'm like, how do I get this off easier? If I use a sharp piece, it seems to, there we go. It seems to get that off a little easier, but I struggle with it every time I try to get them off. There we go. So I just tuck that one on. Now we're going to do this the easy way right away. Hopefully that will work. Oh, look at that. That worked that time. One more. There we go. Perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that there as well. You could add as much embellishment to this as you like. But the one thing that I really like to do is I will add just a little bit of glossy accents, and you can kind of see it. Let's see if I can bring this up so you can see. Just on the berries, I know this is terrible lighting. I'm so sorry. I can never figure out. But on this one, I just added a little bit to all the little berries here. And it just adds a little bit of a shine, which I know you can't see because of the lighting. You might be able to see it a little bit there. But it just kind of elevates those patterned papers a little bit. And this one here, I'll also note that even though we've added this over top, I think this piece itself had the word hope in the middle. And all I did is took this sentiment piece and popped it up on a piece of black cardstock and put it right over top of that word, because I didn't want it to say hope. I wanted it to say Merry Christmas. So you can do things like that too, where you can kind of manipulate the sentiment itself. So here, this one doesn't have any little berries, but it has all these little black spots that kind of lend themselves well to the glossy accents. So what this is a clear medium that makes it look glossy when it's dry. It does take about 20 minutes to dry, so you want to be careful not to do this right before you're traveling, or if you're away and making something while you're away, you don't want to have to put it into your bag right away. So it does take a bit to dry, but it does dry clear, and you can do some fun techniques with it, which we'll share on future videos as well. What this is it has a, can I get that? There we go. It has a nozzle on it, just like a Stickles bottle does. So, and there's always seems to be a bit of air in the tip. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get this better. There. So this little nozzle here always seems to have a bit of air in here. So what I do is I kind of squeeze this. See how it pushed that little air bubble out first? And now I'm getting a solid bead. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. So see how if I push this a little bit, there's a little bubble that comes out the end. That's what we want for it to not have any air in it. So I'm just going to kind of wipe that off. So just be mindful, if yours has air in it when you start, you don't want to have that bubble burst on your project. So I always just kind of give it a little squeeze first. I can see it starting to come out. And then I'm just going to touch this down and just kind of work it in a little bit of a circle. It will self-leaven. Or level, it'll self-level, not leaven, leavening is rising, self-level. And so you just have to add just a little bit to each of the dots, and it's okay if you go over them, that's okay. I prefer not to reach over though, because I'll stick my hand in that for sure. So I just tend to rotate the project. And then I'm just going to add a few there. And if you wanted to add any to the top, maybe I'll do a little bit on these little red berries at the top here too. And then I would just set that aside to dry. And when it's dry, it will have some beautiful little gem-like embellishment on there. You could add a few rhinestones or something like that to the box too. But pretty cute, right? Turned out pretty good. And you could decorate the back as well. Or if you wanted to, you could put your sentiment on a piece of paper and glue that to the back. So, yeah. So that is what we have here. So let me just tie this one closed. We'll see if we can see how I do with the bows. I'm not the greatest tire, so there we go. I always seem to struggle a little bit. There we go. I'll set this aside. We'll bring in this last one that we did as well, so that you can have a look at the top view of all three. Again, you could do these they'd be great party favors, or like for an anniversary party, or just a little, like, just a fun way to say, thinking about you. Yeah, see, I told you I'm not a good, here, we'll try it my daughter's way. She says that she does this, she does that, and then she makes 2 loops, one in this hand and one in this hand. So they're bunny ears, and they go around the thing and then through. Oh, that worked way better. Oh, Jaden, that worked way better. I might have to do that in more videos. That worked really well. There we go. So, okay, there's what we created today, the 4x4 holiday gift boxes. I'm so excited that you can craft with me. I'm going to switch to my front-facing cam again so that I can say hello. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. There we go. Well, thank you, everyone. Let me turn this light off again because it always seems to make it washed out. There we go. I hope you had so much fun today. Sorry about the little quirky bow at the end there. I'm giggling because Jaden is 25 and we always joke that she has to tie her shoes like that. And now it worked better than the way I do it. So, you never know what's gonna work for everyone. So that's great. Well, I hope you had so much fun. I hope you will create something using the project sheet. I'll get the project sheet posted to our website as soon as I can after I'm finished the live here. And thanks for joining me today. I hope you had fun and I look forward to seeing you next week. I hope you have a fantastic week. If you have any questions at all, just reach out. I'm happy to help if I can, and I'd love to see what you create. So share away. Hi Emma, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. That's great. I'm glad you like it. Thanks, Shell Scraps. Thanks for staying on with us to the end. That's great. And please like and share and subscribe to the video, ring the bell, all the things that I'm learning how to do and how to go as we fly, as they say. So yeah, please subscribe. It helps the channel. If you comment or share or like the video, that really helps us as well. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for spending some time with me, and I'll stop talking now and we'll carry on. Have a great week, everyone. See you next week at 2. Bye for now.